All right, everybody, Steve Austin here, and you have downloaded the Unleashed Show. This is a show where nothing is off limits, anything goes. I even loaded up on the Alpha Brain to make sure I was ready to cuss a little bit extra for this one. So thanks to Onnit, the company that makes my Alpha Brain. It keeps me mentally sharp and razor focused. Even helps a brother out with his memory. And that's a long, tall task, given all the steel chairs I've taken to the cranium. Onnit also helps me get my swell on. They make ShroomTech Sport. I take that before every single workout. You want to know why? Because ShroomTech Sport helps me go longer and harder and recover faster. It's a great all-natural way to fight fatigue. And if you go to Onnit.com/Steve right now, you can get 10% off your order. And check this out. Onnit has a money-back guarantee. If something don't work the way it's supposed to, Onnit will give you your money back, no questions asked. So go ahead. Try Alpha Brain. Try ShroomTech Sport. Or give Onnit's T Plus a try. You ain't got nothing to lose. T Plus is designed to increase strength and power. It improves athletic performance and helps with muscle recovery. It's been certified drug-free by the Banned Substances Control Group. That means it's safe to use even if you're competing. So go to Onnit.com/Steve to get your 10% discount off all your supplements. What are you waiting for, folks? Go now. That's Onnit.com, Onnit.com/Steve to get 10% off your order.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production. He started in a small town in Texas. Worked his ass off to become one of the most famous wrestlers of all time.
We're going to take care of business tonight, and that's the bottom line.
And now he's dominating the world of on-demand audio. And he's doing it for the working man.
This is a damn good outlet for me to spew the bullshit off my brain.
Yeah! This is the Steve Austin Show. Unleashed.
All right, everybody, welcome to Steve Austin Show Unleashed. I am coming to you from the mean streets of Los Angeles, California. We're coming on in the show here in a minute. I got an interview with the one and only Nature Boy Ric Flair. But as you folks know, it's getting close to deer season down at the Broken Skull Ranch in Tilden, Texas. So I'm talking to my main man from Amsterdam. That's bullshit. He ain't from Amsterdam. He's from Phoenix, Arizona, but he lives down in Rockport, Texas now. And he helps me out at the Broken Skull Ranch. He's Ted Fowler. Ted Fowler 361 on Twitter. Teddy, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing real good, Steve, real good.
You sound real fucking happy. How's it going?
And I can't hardly find the words to describe it.
Hey, we're getting ready to roll into deer season. I know you're going down to the ranch on Wednesday, and you were there a couple of weeks ago doing a bunch of work. How's everything going? Are the corn feeders up, and are they spinning? What's the process?
Yeah, no, we got all the feeders out in the field. They're all throwing corn twice a day. You know, I'm going down Wednesday to open up all of the blinds, get the clipboards and the count sheets together, you know, just make sure that everything's open and operable.
Hey, man, Teddy, we had a guy come out with a maintainer the other day, and he was going to blade the roads and kind of crown them up. When I say crown up the roads, people, I mean they use a maintainer blade, a grader, and they drive up and down the roads, and they push the material up to the center of the road and pack it down, and then when it rains, the rain has some place to drain. Teddy, I hired someone to go out there and do this, but they basically turned their blade flat and just scraped all the shit off the roads into the sides of the road, so we're basically at about a 3 or 4 inch subgrade. And if it rains, the water's not going to drain off the road, it's going to stay in the road. What the fuck happened?
Dude, you hired the guy, not me. I didn't talk to him. I got there after the fact.
God damn it, don't get hot at me. I didn't know they was going to send Ray Charles out to grade the damn roads.
No, dude, it looks like hammer dog shit, man. And the first time we get any rain, it's gonna be bad.
God damn, I just talked to that dude on the telephone. I said, hey, man, we got a problem with the roads. I said, y'all drove around the property, but y'all did anything but crown the roads up, so they're going to come out there and make it right. I told them I was going to be down there in a couple of weeks, so we'll get that addressed. But Jesus Christ, man, I mean, that's what they did the first time when they came out there. And, you know, you're spending money when you're trying to fix up your roads, and you want it done right, and you want it done right the first time and not a bunch of bullshit. So I'll tell you what, that's why we don't drive on the roads when it's muddy to begin with, so we don't fuck them up to bring a maintainer out there to fuck them up more.
Well, you'd figure a guy owns a piece of machinery that's, a couple of $100,000. He ought to be able to operate that thing and ought to have a pretty good idea, of what it can and can't do. I don't know if he was the operator, if he hired some local to do it, but, Jesus Christ. I don't know anything about driving a maintainer, but I think I could have done a comparable job to what this guy did.
Yeah, because the task at hand is to crown the goddamn road up. Hey, Teddy, we had a little bit of a soap opera out there. For about the past few months, we've had an alligator. There used to be two over there at the lake by the deer stand we call Tombstone. We call that pond Tombstone Lake. You've been feeding this damn alligator, and he's grown to be about from 4.5 feet to about 5.5 feet. He's getting pretty damn big from them pictures you keep posting on your Twitter account, Ted Fowler 361. Recently, my Uncle Donnie came out there so that he could lend a helping hand and help you out get ready for deer season, and he stumbled across the alligator that he was not expecting. What happened?
Well, first and foremost, I forgot to inform everybody that there was a live alligator in that pond. And he went to open up the feed pen to help me out. And before I got there, he turned around to look back at Tombstone Lake and saw, some water moving. So just out of, general curiosity, he started walking over there. And when he walked up to the side, hell, the gator saw him, thought it was me, and he started coming up and, scared the hell out of him. That was an oversight on my part. I should have briefed everybody before they got there.
But he's not really a big enough alligator to strike fear into the hearts of people, Teddy. What shook him up so bad about it?
I don't think he was expecting it. You're down there in South Texas at a deer ranch, standing there looking over the water, collecting your thoughts, and here comes a 5.5 foot, alligator up out of the water towards you. Dude, I told you, I threw that thing some food one day, and to see it actively start thrashing around, because what I threw it was pretty good size, that was a little unnerving. So
he went to a death row with that thing, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was, I didn't expect it. It was a little creepy.
Yep.
Went in a death row, and then he went down with it, and then he came up, a couple of minutes later out in the middle of the pond, and it was like, whoo.
Teddy, this alligator sounds somewhat violent, somewhat fearless to human beings. Teddy, if given the resources and the time, could you train this alligator to sit, lay down, roll over, so that we may put on exhibitions and make money with this alligator? Can that happen?
We got the rolling over part figured out. I figured out how to make him do that. Yeah, but the rest of it will be a work in progress.
You got to look at it this way, Ted. You got Ted Fowler Construction down there in Rockport, Texas. Hiring giraffe pussy, but the man does good work and is able to command those high prices. If you were to go into the animal training kingdom, you could be the next, you could be the next dude that's on TV training animals. You could be like the Caesar Milan. You could be like Alligator Whisperer. Anybody got an alligator, got a problem, they call Ted Fowler. Ted Fowler comes over. You probably fly down to San Diego zoos. Zoos all over the world calling you up. Teddy, we got an alligator who's not getting along with the rest of the alligators. Can you come talk to him? What do you think, Teddy? Is that something that you might want to entertain?
Run it by the people at CMT, man. I'm always up for
it. Here it comes. All right, I'm going to talk to the guys tomorrow when I go back to work at Broken Skull Challenge. Hey, guys, I got another pitch for you. I got a buddy down in Texas. He's a carpenter by trade, but wants to get into training alligators. We will follow him around the country as he diagnoses people with alligator problems. That sounds like a fucking hit right there.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Teddy, I got a bone to pick with you. I got a message from you on my text message of the day that you heard the show in which I talked about the video in which you posted to my wife, Kristen, about the rattlesnake in the pavilion.
Yeah, I screwed that up, too.
Boy, you sure did. I'm finally glad I got a chance to cuss at you on an air. Shit, what the fuck are you thinking? I'm going to have to sell that damn ranch, and you and me going to be hunting on a goddamn deer lease in bumfuck Egypt because now my wife wants to put up a snake-proof fence over the Broken Skull Ranch. Teddy, how am I going to put up a snake-proof fence on 2,100 acres? Answer me that, mister. I got to send a goddamn rattlesnake video to my wife?
Well, dude, she's always asking what's going on down there. She always asks how the gator goes. Or how the gator's doing, how many rats have I killed? Have we seen any snakes? Hell, I wasn't thinking, man. I went out in the pavilion that evening to do my workout and curled up in the corners that little rattlesnake. It's like, well, I better take a video and send it to Kristen. She'll get a kick out of this.
Goddamn, I guess my first things was like, call a realtor. Do I put the ranch for sale on eBay, Craigslist? Fuck. And the thing about it is, we got that feeder in front of the house. When the hogs go there to eat that protein, I can't shoot the hogs. She wants me to shoot the alligator. I'm intrigued by the alligator. We'll make that decision when I get down there. If I'm riding around with her, I can't shoot nothing out there but the damn deer. So, my hands, that's my ranch, Teddy. That's my refuge. I should be able to go out there and do damn near anything I want with respect to the wildlife, of course. But with you sending these videos, I can't do a goddamn thing without asking my wife permission. Now, put yourself in my shoes, Teddy. Don't you think you've put me in a corner here?
If I were you, I'd hit me right in the mouth. First thing after we see each other and shake hands, just reach over and hit me right in the mouth. That'll be for the rattlesnake.
All right, we won't come to that. Hey, you got a group of hunters coming down this weekend, deer season. Well, I don't know when this podcast is going to play. It'll be a couple of days after deer season. So my dad, Brian's coming down. I think my brother Scott's coming down. And so you're just going to put them in some deer stands to do some filming, right?
That's correct. Yes.
I got all the hunting license, permits, and all that stuff, and we'll start pulling the trigger once I come down. Is there anything else we need? We need to get about 4 or 5 pop-up blinds to put up for you and me, and so I need to ship those to you, or you need to pick some out. What do you think about that?
No, I'm cool with that. We're ready to rock and roll.
Well, all right, Teddy. What else you got going on the docket for today?
Man, I'm getting ready to go to the gym.
Well, all right, dude. Appreciate the check-in. I will see you in a couple of weeks at the Broken Skull Ranch.
All right, and I won't send any more videos to Kristen.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Bye.
All right, folks, I got more bullshit coming up, including my match of the week. And I found this one on WWE Network, and the network is just $9.99 a month. And I'm coming right back with Nature Boy Ric Flair right after we make sure you're taking advantage of the opportunity to win some instant cash at DraftKings.com. Week 8 of the pro season is over, and if your season-long fantasy team is still limping along in last place in your league, then you need to get to DraftKings.com right now and enter the $100,000 fantasy football contest, because first place takes home $10,000. You can stack your team at DraftKings.com, and you ain't got to worry about injuries, bye weeks, or anything else. Pick your team in minutes, and then sit back, enjoy the games, and win yourself some instant cash in the process. And if you go to DraftKings.com now, you can get free entry into the $100,000 fantasy football contest. All you got to do is go to DraftKings.com right now and enter the promo code Steve to play for free. That's Steve at DraftKings.com.
He's defeated every champion from every organization the sport of mixed martial arts has ever seen. And now Chael Sonnen's on PodcastOne.com.
Hi, this is Chael Sonnen, and I've got a brand new podcast. It's called You're Welcome. I'm going to talk about the stuff that excites me, the stuff that ticks me off, and we're even going to have some very great guests. Consider this your VIP pass to enlightenment.
Download a new episode of You're Welcome with Chael Sonnen every Wednesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com. Steve Austin. Unleashed.
All right, sitting here talking to Nature Boy Ric Flair. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Good. I'm very good, Steve. How are you?
Oh, man, I was at the gym last night getting my swell on. I said, you know what? I talked to Rick about a month ago when I was in Hartwell, Georgia, and I was trying to get into Atlanta to come out and talk to you in person just to shoot the breeze with you again. And we couldn't make it happen because you were too busy. And then, you had all the health scare stuff. So I wanted to call in, check in, and see what the hell's going on and see if the one and only, the illustrious Nature Boy Ric Flair, the 16-time world champion, is alive, well, kicking, and still raising hell.
Yeah, man, I'm back up and running. Actually right now, better than ever. But boy, you could have told me that a month ago. I told you pretty much what happened. But and I said to you in all sincerity that saying that we all pass on to each other periodically in passing and when we're together about thank God for good health. But man, I'm keenly aware of that statement. And every time I say it to somebody now,
hey Rick,
that's the biggest I've ever been. I mean, airplane crash, rotator cuffs, every name it. Nothing was like that. 11 days in the hospital. Wow.
Well, how are you feeling now? I mean, just
I feel
with
great. I feel tremendous. It'll be actually 6 weeks tomorrow morning since the last operation, and it took me about 3 weeks just to get moving around, and in the last 3 weeks I feel great. So working out full speed ahead. I'm a cosmetic nightmare as we speak, but I'm working on it.
What do you mean cosmetic nightmare?
I mean, I've never, cosmetically, I've never been one of my strong sides of my wrestling profession, but I can pull it off, but now I really got to work hard at it.
Hey, how are you feeling from all the bumps? And I always ask you this, but now after your recent stuff with the health thing, how do you feel? Because I always you always hear people say when they start getting up there and older than yourself and myself is that, hey, man, if I'd known I was going to last this long, I'd have took better care of myself. So knowing where you're at right now, if you had to go back out and be the nature boy again, would you take as many bumps?
I would. And you know what the problem is, Steve? When I'm healthy, I could take them right now. I mean, if people don't understand this. When I broke my back in an airplane crash, 3 places, T10, 11, and 12 compressed. The guy told me I'd never wrestle. That was 1975. And he said if I ever did wrestle again, I'd have arthritis so bad I couldn't walk by the time I was 40. Well, I'm 65. and I don't have any discomfort at all. The only time I feel that back is I'm in real cold weather. I can feel it. Does that make sense? But I mean,
yeah, I don't like the cold weather either.
It's there.
Yeah.
If I get off a plane in Minneapolis and I've been in Honolulu or something like that, I can feel it. But I have no discomfort in my knees. I drive Bret Hart crazy every time I see him. I'm doing 500 free squats again, 3 times a week, But I actually think a lot of that stuff that I did, so vigorously, has kept me healthy. The saying that we all live by is, time off is our worst enemy. And, that's, I just tried to stay active. When I retired, I got bored and, I can take backdrops, all that stuff. Superplex. I just took a superplex a year ago from somebody. I can't even remember who. But I feel great, knock on wood. But that stomach issue was a lot for me to overcome personally and mentally. I'm not kidding you. That threw me for a loop.
When was the last time you were in a ring?
The last time I was in a ring, I wrestled TNA. It's been 2.5 years. So I've been in a ring with WWE. And I was taking bumps in WWE as a special referee over in Australia in August.
Well, have you been down
I was taking bumps from Kane and Roman Reigns over there, So,
Okay, now what kind of bumps were you taking? Backdrops? Were you taking...
I don't care. You know me, right?
Hey, you've been down to the training camp down in Florida, right?
Yes, I have.
Now, a guy like you, I've been meaning to go down there. As soon as I get a chance, when I get some time cleared up on my schedule, I want to go down there just so I can see. I want to see the facility because I hear how impressive it is, but I also want to be able to drop a little bit of 411 on some of these new cats coming in and give them a little bit of take from my standpoint or the way I look at the business. Have you been able to do that? Because, I don't have time or the wherewithal to start a proper pro wrestling school. I get so many people that ask me that, but how much information have you been able to go down there and actually give those kids? And are they in a place right now where they can actually soak it up?
They don't invite me either. They don't invite me.
Really?
No, I've been down to see it because my daughter's there, but they're afraid of what I'll tell them.
How can they be? But how can they be afraid of what you'd say, Rick? Because I think when you get into this business, especially the way it is now, when you don't have all the territories and all the different guys that can influence, your decisions, how you work, and give you psychology, you're one of the last guys. You're a 16-time world champion.
I don't think it's by design, but number one, I passed the physical, so I could get in the ring and work out with them right now. I'd probably take another week the doctor would tell me that a week before I got in the ring and started wrestling. But I could wrestle with them. But I've thrown it out there, but they don't bite on it. I don't think, they have a select crew of people they're comfortable with, and that's who's going to be the people that are training them.
Yeah, and that's great, and they have some great people down there, Rick. But I mean, you're the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. We all have our favorite. We all have our favorite pro wrestlers. You're my favorite pro wrestler of all time. If you look up pro wrestler in the dictionary,
I appreciate that. But I also, as we were talking last night for a little bit about tag match, I also tagged with a guy that didn't believe that you could throw a guy from rope to rope.
You talking about Ole?
No, Johnny Valentine. He'd say, I was thinking about it after we hung up last night. I used to tag with Valentine a lot back in the 70s before the airplane crash, before he was paralyzed, and they go to throw him rope to rope. He wouldn't do it. Or turnbuckles.
He wouldn't take a rope or a turnbuckle?
He would not. Wahoo McDaniels, as tough as he was, could not get Valentine off that rope or a turnbuckle. He wouldn't run the ropes.
But I always heard so much about Johnny Valentine when he came down.
You heard he was a great. He had
right.
tremendous psychology, but it was his way or the highwayman. He didn't run the ropes. He didn't do high spots. Nothing.
But that was that era where you could get away with that style. I mean, because
not really, because the business was starting to change a lot when I came along.
Right.
In '72 and that. I mean, the people were crazy for Ray Stevens, not Johnny Valentine. But when John got over in the territory, he'd grab a hold on a guy and just did for 30 minutes. And for 6 months, the people would be booing the crap out of the place, and then 6 months later, he'd have a riot.
Really?
Because they believed it. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm sure, John had the same thing going on with Paul Bosch in Houston and Fritz in Dallas and Mushnick in St. Louis. But when he came to Carolina, things were starting to change around a little bit. But, he and Wahoo would it was a phenomenal match, but it's nothing that you and I would look at right now and say, geez, that thing is, whatever terminology kids use today, 5-star.
Yeah, they would say it was outdated and boring.
They beat the living crap out of each
right.
other.
But
John was my taking partner. He'd say to me after the match, I'm just a 23-year-old kid. He'd say, "Why are you letting Wahoo throw you in the rope?" I don't know. I said, "Because he told me to." What was I supposed to say? No.
Yeah, but the thing about your style, Rick, was who was influential in your style? Because one of the things that I always loved about your work was you knew when a high spot was needed or transition. You knew when there needed to be movement in the match, and that's what always made you exciting. Whether it was the backdrop out of the corner, a backdrop, or running down the flip over, running down the apron into something else, or a chop off the top.
Yeah.
You knew when to put things in motion. So was Ray Stevens one of those innovators?
Yeah,
and what helped you develop your style?
I started with Ray Stevens, Bockwinkel, Murdoch, Dusty. I started with some phenomenal Harley Race, and Ray had the most influence on me with the flip and all that. And I learned that from Ray. And then the slam off the top, which people made fun of for years. I got that from Harley, and I just picked up a little bit from everybody. Murdoch was a phenomenal performer.
Yeah.
Who could make you laugh or cry or make you mad. I mean, Dick was pretty good. And Harley, I can't say enough about Harley. Harley was Harley Race. Even he was believable, but Harley could do high spots or he could, hold you down. And then, of course, I really liked Terry's. I wasn't crazy about Dory's work. Dory was a lot like Valentine. Dory liked to hold you down,
right,
lean on you, get you tired, and he'd blow you up, slammy, headlock slam, grab it again, with Dory. Dory lean on you, so, 100 degrees in Orlando, Florida, and Dory Funk is leaning on you, telling you to fight out of it. Forget it, Dory.
Was it a rib, or was he shooting with you?
That's the way he worked. He spent a lot of time in the business with Valentine.
Yeah.
And it was, at that time, you remember, people don't realize that I wrestled Bobo Brazil for an hour.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about where I've been?
How hard was that?
That was really hard. It was a lot harder than wrestling Rufus R. Jones.
Hey, Rick, when did you ever feel like, did you ever think you were going to the well too many times with the backdrop out of the corner or the slam off the top or just that trademark, you had just took an ass whooping and do the face plant? Did you ever feel like you were that up? Because I know Ole was not a big fan of that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever felt like I was going to the well too much, because it's hard for somebody that wasn't in my shoes to understand how hard it is to work with the same people or in the same, and perform against the same guy.
Understood.
Kind of like I said last night, when you and I and Brian and you and Brian and Arn and I wrestled, we hadn't been in the ring 25 or 30 times. We just walked into the Norfolk Scope and talked for 15 minutes and went out and wrestled for 35 or 40 minutes. I mean, familiarity in the ring with someone was so important. But, I just, every time something got old, I'd improvise. The funniest thing of all, I got that falling on my face from Valentine. The old man did that.
Really?
He didn't walk into it. He just fell over like a big oak tree. I stole a lot of stuff. I'm not going to lie.
What else did you borrow? And it's not there's nothing new anymore, and there hasn't been anything new for quite some time. But what else did you borrow? You said to slam off the top from Harley.
I got the chop. I was talking to Terry Funk tonight on his birthday. Terry just had his 70th birthday. I was telling this story. He was the world champion in '76. I was watching him wrestle Paul Jones, who was a major air player in the Mid-Atlantic area then, for an hour in Raleigh. And Jones had Terry's arm, an arm bar, and Terry Funk started chopping him across the chest to get out of it. Next day, man, I was chopping.
Was anybody chopping up till that point?
Nobody was. No. Well, Wahoo, of course, but Wahoo was the overhand chop, not the backhand.
Right. Did you ever get a bunch of guys complain, piss, and moan about those chops? Because you always had, and I was telling you about your physique last night, you had the perfect bump-taking physique, height, weight, your build, you had enough mass on you. But you have those big meaty hands. But you were pretty much a gentle chopper because you made contact and noise, but it didn't kill you like the Pillman chop or the Danny Davis chop.
You just hit him on the top of the chest. It makes all the noise.
Right.
It's funny because the two guys that hated him the most, one of them had the best chest in the world to chop was the Undertaker, of course, right?
Yeah.
Got that 4-mile radius. But he'd say, I'm going to take 4, and that's it. Make him good. And Brett just hated him. Oh, God, he begged me.
What did he not like about the chop?
They don't like you. Some guys don't like to sing, and thank God they didn't have to work in Wahoo. Good Lord.
I remember.
He would kill you. And Ronnie Garvin.
Man with the hands of stone. Yeah, his chop looked like they hurt because there's a lot of times there's guys, their chests were bleeding.
Born on my chest 24/7 wrestling Ronnie Garvin. Oh, he would beat, if people thought I was beating him up, Ronnie beat me half to death.
I was working with Flying Brian. They split us up down there as the Hollywood Blondes, and Brian liked that overhand chop. And it hurt like hell. And we were working a program. We were down there in Jacksonville, Florida. Man, we were having a hell of a damn match. And, man, he was hitting me with those chops. I have a high threshold of pain, Rick, as you do, as a lot of us do. But enough of those chops is just enough of those chops. I kind of started turning just a frog's hair. And he hated that. So after the match, he came up to me and he said, hey, listen, Brian was very upfront. He was a great communicator. He goes, hey, listen, Steve.
You think?
Yeah, he would tell me, go, Steve, man, if you're going to turn on those chops, then I just need to stop doing them because they look like shit. And so I was like, what do you do? I was like, okay, Brian, I won't turn. So from then on, I took them straight ahead. But they got on your nerves after a little bit. But see, here's the thing. When you talk about the Undertaker taking your chops, here's how old school the Undertaker was. Even though the chop was not in his arsenal, if you were going to chop him, many times he was going to give you the 4 back that he took. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. But the thing was, is I would say, don't sell it, of course. Just let me hit you.
Yeah.
I didn't ask him to go to a knee.
Yeah.
That would be absurd.
Hey, what else did you? Okay, you got that. What else did you borrow from somebody? Where did the woo come from?
I got the knee drop from Harley.
The knee drop. Oh, man, that was picture perfect. And Harley dropped a tremendous knee, as did you,
Ray.
Ray.
That's pretty much it. I mean, knee drop from Harley, the chop from Terry Funk, the upside down bump from Ray, but I could never do it nearly as good as he did. And then the rest of it, falling on my face from Johnny Valentine. I didn't start doing that till I was really desperate to make the fans say something,
What about
I'll tell you a great story that
Go
a
ahead.
lot of people don't know, but I tell this. I was wrestling Rufus R. Jones in Hutchinson, Kansas. This is how vivid, how I can remember this. In front of like 200 people, and Buck Robley was the booker, right?
Yeah.
So a guy named Sonny Myers was the referee, an old-timer from that era, right? And so the match was so bad. It was an hour long, 200 people, right? It was so bad. How many freight trains and headbutts can you take, right?
Yeah.
So I had him down, and I was kicking him, and I said, Sonny, pull me off him. And Sonny Myers looked at me and said, I can't touch you. I said, Sonny, I'm the goddamn world champion. Pull me off him. So when he pulled me off him, I pushed him. and I said, now push you back. He said, I can't. I said, push me back. And I pushed him really hard. He pushed me back. The biggest pop of the night, hence push referee spot. So I came out of the ring, and Buck Robley said, man, you're the world champion. That's cheap heat. I said, Buck, you go out and wrestle Rufus for an hour in front of 200 people. Let me know how that works for you, by the way.
Yeah. Was that the first time that you'd known of the push with the referee doing it? And of course,
that's the first time I did it. But then, I took that worldwide.
Yeah.
Tommy Young was the best.
Oh, y'all had such good chemistry together.
Yeah, then I started doing that to figure four, be selling my leg and take a bump at. Then I started taking a bump on it, which really rocked.
Where did the figure four come from?
I got that from Jack Briscoe. I didn't get it from Rogers. I got it from Jack, but I asked him if I could use it.
See that? There's a fine line there.
I don't know why. It's so funny because it never worked for me. It worked for Jack and it worked for Rogers, but never for me.
Hey, why? Who invented the part of the figure four? Because you're the guy that used it for so long, and you borrowed it from Jack.
Who invented it?
No. Who was the guy that said when you turn the figure four over, that it reverses the pressure to the giver than the receiver that had it on the
George Scott taught me that.
George Scott.
Of course.
That totally defies all logic, Rick, but people bought into it 150%.
Nobody can turn it over in real life. I have put that thing on linebackers in the NFL, man, in bars. They can't get out of it if they let me put it on them.
Right.
No, I mean, no, let me clarify that statement. If they let me push their leg above their knee and put it on them, nobody gets out of that. I don't care how tough they think they are. But they have to let me put it on, which I have a couple of guys, and they wish they hadn't, because you can hurt a guy with that. If you get that ankle above the knee,
right,
get that thing locked in, good luck with that.
All right, next time I see you, I want you to put me in a figure four just to put a little bit of pressure on my knee. I want to see how that thing's supposed to feel for a shoot.
Man, Steve, it'll kill you.
But tell me, okay, so what did George Scott, who was booking the territory, right? Where's this?
When I came to Charlotte, he was the booker.
Okay, so he said, okay,
a year ago, that's really sad. He was a great guy.
So he's the one that told you, hey, Rick, how about, if you got the figure four, when you turn it over?
He's the one that, he was there when I crashed an airplane. He's the one that gave me the idea to do the robes.
Yep.
Introduced me to Olivia Walker and by changing my style around and, not copying it. I was copying Dusty and Billy Graham at the time. And he's responsible for a lot of what I had going on in my career.
When you said you were copying Superstar and Dusty with regards to promo, because I don't see you emulating their work style.
The scarf like Graham did, because I broke into Minneapolis where Billy was. And then I was wearing the tie-dye T-shirts, and I wanted to be Ramblin' Ricky Rhodes.
That was your idea?
Yeah, Gagne shot that down. Are you crazy?
That may have been the best move Vern Gagne ever made. And you've got to be very thankful that he shot it down.
Rambling Ricky Rhodes. I was such a mark for Dusty. It was unbelievable. But I don't think I'm the only one. He was so gifted on the microphone. It was unreal.
So then what was your take on the microphone? Because you're one of the best promo guys of all time. What was your take on a promo? Just basically shoot with it?
Go out and wing it. I still have a tough time when they write it down for me because if I don't feel it, it's hard to say it,
Right.
And I understand the importance now of bullet points and, the day of the pay-per-view and all that, but it's just such a better way to do it, in my opinion, if you have the ability to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, let's face it, no one told you what to do. No one told me what to do until I went up there the second time. And even then we agreed to disagree. But, don't think Ed Koski was there every night going, please don't screw this up. Go ahead, I promise.
Hey,
so it was all good. It just, times have changed.
When it came to blading, Rick, not to go into the art or the details and all that, but you're a guy who wore the blade on the finger. I always liked mine on my left wrist.
Art Nielsen taught me that in Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay, I was always a guy, like, if it's going to get some color in a big pay-per-view or whatever, man, I'd carry my blade on my left wrist. I'd carry it back up on my right wrist, and I might give if it was super important, I'd give the referee a third. How did Art Nielsen break your system down for you? Because I remember the night before I walked out on the WWF, it was going to be Atlanta TV taping, and you and I were working in a steel cage in Columbus, Georgia, and you got color that night, and you was wearing that bled. So I got a couple of scratch marks.
And I got a lot of heat the next day.
You did?
You weren't coming.
I thought I was working. I thought I was working with Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. Then I had to. Of course, I cut you a couple times, right?
Yeah, it was an accident. Yeah, it was funny though. I was like a kid in a candy shop.
If I haven't, when I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
I used to make them so big that if I don't keep the shield on it, and the shield's hard to keep on it.
Right.
And I'm sure I used to nick Garvin too, but he deserved it, not you.
Did you tape it to your pointing finger?
Yeah, I've taped my fingers for years, both hands.
Yes.
And I keep it on my index finger, yeah.
So why did Art Nielsen teach you this style? Out of all the different styles, why did this one?
It's just the way a guy taught me one night, 1974, and a guy named Art Nielsen. They wanted me, and I had no idea what they were talking about. They said, they want you to, and the guy goes to me, you're going to learn in this business, kid, red is green. And I was little Pete Pasta, little Roanoke, Virginia, 300 people, and I said, no problem, man, just show me how to do it. The rest is history. I've been making them for guys for, 40 years.
What is your technique to making them? I always took one of the old school razors that would put.
I got to have a Johnson, the old Johnson pack of white, they come in a white cardboard box.
The rectangular kind that you would put in an old school shaver. It's got a single edge on each side.
Exactly. And what I do, I break it in half, and then I take a scissors and cut it quarters.
Right.
And I got to have a quarter off the right side where the blade is coming towards me.
Well, the way I like to make mine was do the same thing. I'd take that same blade, turn it longwise, cut it once down the middle, and then I'd take one of the edges, and then I'd go with, at an angle to get my point, and then I would adjust the length by trimming off the back side. Then I would get my athletic tape, stick it through the athletic tape, and kind of make a depth gauge. And there I would make my pull tab, and I'd tape my wrist and then put it on top of that.
I got to be superstitious. I had to have Johnson & Johnson. If I didn't have Johnson tape, I was superstitious.
Really?
Yeah, I just always, but I would chase it down if I had to. You get little superstition things about yourself in the business. And
well, what am I doing?
I had to have the Gillette blades, and I had to have the Johnson tape.
Well, I was a guy that when I was getting dressed, I always had to put my right boot on first. If I didn't put that right boot on first and lace it up, it was going to be, it never happened. That was the way my system must go down. And then I'd start taping the left wrist.
We all experience stuff like that, little things we do.
What other habits did you have then?
Well, I used to hand my phone to a referee all the time and say, make sure no chicks are calling me in case something happens.
Hey, what was the story?
And I'd say to Charles, by the way, if I die, just throw my phone in the garbage can.
Hey, what was the story that brings up a
Now that I'm not married, I can tell those stories.
I didn't know infidelity was a part of your resume.
Now I know how Tiger felt on the 18th hole when he was leading by one and he had 30 chicks calling him on the cell phone. I don't know how he did it.
Hey, what was the story, Rick? I think it was one of the times, obviously, when you were world champion. I guess you had left the belt behind somewhere or left it in your briefcase.
No, God, I can't tell that.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
Yeah, I can. Okay.
What happened?
I was in Houston, and Shocker, wrestling in San Houston Coliseum with WCW, and I went out with Wyndham and who God only knows. I'll leave the other participants out. And somehow I got I lost contact with the person that had my luggage, who had my belt. And somehow, one of the stooges called Jim Hurd. I had to be in Birmingham the next day at TV. So Hurd called and said, "I heard you lost the belt." I said, "Absolutely not." So after about $5,000 in private eyes and everything, I walked into Birmingham with the belt the next day, but it was nip and tuck. I may have had a 24-hour window. I can't remember, but it was Friday till Monday. I had 48 hours to find it. But Houston, it can be rough on you there in the old days.
Oh, of course it could.
Gillies, are you kidding?
Were you a guy that always carried the belt on the plane with him? Because sometimes...
Always. I never checked it. No, I had the Halliburton, and, that's one of the things that you just didn't do. I thought it was cool because I heard the company carries the belts to the guys now, which is, carrying that damn thing around.
A pain in the ass.
The A belt was like a religion, and of course WCW, the belt weighed so damn much. The bigger belt, which the company uses now, probably weighs 25, 30 pounds.
But I always thought it was a pain in the ass. I was always trying to get through the airport as low key as possible. So then when you pull out the belt out of your luggage, and of course, all the TSA people want to hold it up. Oh man, look at this! And so then here comes all the attention.
FYI, it's going to be a few guys, you and I being two of them, maybe 10 other, that are never just going to ease through an airport. I got news for you. If social media now, you and I, we can't ease anywhere. That's why I'm not going out with Rodman tomorrow night when I get to L.A.
So you coming to L.A., what are you doing out here?
I'm doing a fitness video with Dennis on Tuesday.
Dennis Rodman?
Dennis Rodman.
Oh, my God. You guys are doing a fitness video?
Yeah, I'll send you the link. I'll send it to you on your cell phone, yeah. But I'm not going to go out with him Tuesday night. I've already told him.
Have you ever been out with him before?
With Dennis? Oh, yeah, many times.
How'd that go?
It's exciting, but nowadays it's kind of hard to explain. He gets away with stuff that I could never get away with. I got away with it in the 80s, but not right now.
Hey, do you miss the ring?
Do I miss the ring? I miss it a lot. Yep. I wish I was on Raw tomorrow.
So, but what are you doing right now just in your downtime? I know you come to L.A., you can do the thing with Rodman.
I'm doing a lot of stuff. Actually, I got real busy. I've got, I told you I did the Magic Mike thing, right?
Yeah, you told me you were going to. How'd that go?
I'm going to win it. Well, I'm not supposed to talk about it, so I can't tell you, but I can guarantee you, Steve, I'm going to win an Academy Award. Do not give me a minute and a half to talk in promo form with the verbiage they gave me. Are you kidding me? I had never seen the movie. I didn't know much about it.
Right.
But they gave me a minute and a half, and I did one take. And I'll just say this, Channing Tatum said it was the greatest thing he ever saw in his life. But I had about 35 cups of Starbucks coffee. I was ready.
Hey, was that the first movie you've been a part of? How'd you like the process?
Oh, I've done a couple other things. I did, Baywatch and some TV shows. I thought the people were great. I mean, it's just a long day, and then you're waiting on the people that you're involved with in the scenes to do their part. And, about the eighth take, you're sitting there, you're ready to go on, and during the eighth take of the people in front of you, how much coffee can you drink? You know what I mean?
Hey, you're going to see our friend Brad Nessler greatest announcer.
I'm going to see Brad about 4 o'clock today. I'll tell him for sure you said hi.
Are y'all going to a football game?
No, the Falcons actually got beat in England today. We're just going to meet and just have a couple before I leave. I got to go out, leave tomorrow early for L.A., but Brad's a great guy, and he had the Penn State game last night, as I told you last night, but he's a great guy and fun to be with.
Yeah, I heard him call the game. I thought Penn State was going to pull that thing off. I picked Ohio State to win it, but it looked like Penn State was going to pull it off and couldn't quite get it done. Who's your college team?
Yeah, hey, how about LSU, huh? That was great.
Man, I love Les Miles, and I really love that LSU program, but I'd kind of been cheering for Ole Miss, and, of course, Mississippi State is a house of fire right now.
I think they're going to do the real deal. My team, South Carolina, almost beat
Auburn.
Auburn last night. That's what I was, looking at. So,
how did you end up being a Gamecock?
Because I'm good friends with Steve Spurrier. I follow Steve. I was a Gator.
The old ball coach?
The old ball coach, man.
Man, that guy's got to have some stories.
Oh, my God. I met Steve in 1981. I just won the world title in Tampa. He was coaching the Tampa Bay Bandits. And from there, he went to Duke, and from Duke, he went to Florida, and the rest is history. I mean, what a phenomenal career.
What kind of guy is he away from college football?
Great guy. And he's a no-nonsense kind of person. If he likes you, he lets you know it. He's a scratch golfer, He's a phenomenal athlete. He won the Heisman Trophy. His problem with San Fran was he played behind John Brody, who I think is in the Hall of Fame for all those years. But I think he's the greatest offensive coordinator in football today. I don't think you get much argument about it. They have a hard time recruiting in South Carolina. They've had some great players, but you get a top 10 class, it's hard for them to do because of, you got Clemson, Georgia, Florida State, all within, 300-400 miles. So it's hard to recruit there.
Hey, man, with a little bit of time on your hands, you ever thought about picking up the game of golf?
Actually, I'm going to take some lessons this fall. How'd you know that?
No, I didn't. I just figured, with people that play golf.
All these golf tournaments, and I go have fun, and I just sign autographs. But, just to kill some time, I'm going to start taking some lessons.
Here's the thing. My problem was when I went to go play golf, I only played golf probably 3-4 times a year max, and that was on a busy year. And problem was, when I go out there, I have great expectations every time I do something that I'm going to be, because I am a natural-born athlete, I should be outstanding in everything I do. Well, if you don't play golf every single day, or at least every other week, or with some type of consistency, you ain't going to be worth a damn. So I was not. Then, on top of that, you throw the 12-pack in the back of the golf cart. About the 4th hole in, you're already about halfway let up. So then when you're not skilled, and that means the alcohol, your game goes completely to hell. Yeah. And by the time I'm done, I'm pissed off at myself because I suck so bad.
Well, not only that, but you find now that you do these pro-ams, right? And these guys, when I first started doing them years ago, when I did play a little bit, we drink. Now the guys take these things so serious they want to win.
Right.
So you don't even drink when you play. I quit. I used the rotator cuff injury but I had so much fun this year. I went to about 4 tournaments. I'm going to play some this fall with Wendy, get our game down, and I just want to get where I can break 100. Where I just can be there. Nothing.
Breaking 100 is a pretty good game for me. I mean, that's like outstanding.
Yeah.
You know Charles Barkley, right?
Oh, really well.
Well, I've seen him on the tee box a few times, and boy, I tell you what, that's comical in and of itself. Maybe you should hook up with Charles on a pro-am.
Well, I see him on. I've had a lot of fun with Charles too. God, he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he just he likes to play, and he's the guy that can say. It's so funny because he can say whatever he wants to say and gets away with it. It's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. And most time I kind of agree with what he's got to say.
Yeah, we all do, but we can't say it.
You're right.
We can't even confirm that we like it.
Hey, Rick, I'm going to let you go. I just want to call and check in, and I checked in way longer than I said I was going to talk to you.
No problem. Thanks, Steve. I always enjoy talking with you.
You're A1. You're doing good, right?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Next time I see you, figure 4 on me. I want to see how it feels, and if I'm up to it, I'll reverse it and put the pain back on you.
Okay, man. Well, hey, thanks for all the respect, Steve. I think the world of you, okay?
All right, thank you very much, Rick.
Biggest star in the history of
Oh,
WWE.
stop it. When you look up pro wrestler in the damn dictionary, there's a picture of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Talk to you later, Rick.
Bye.
All right, everybody, it's time for my Match of the Week selection. But before I do that, I want to reach out and say thank you very much to Ted Fowler 361 on Twitter. He's my buddy down there in South Texas. He's been doing a lot of work down there at the Broken Skull Ranch, getting everything ready for deer season. Teddy, I'm looking forward to hunting this year, looking forward to lifting a few weights, looking forward to drinking a few beers, and doing some podcasting as well. Appreciate you helping me out with the Open. I also want to thank the one and only Nature Boy Ric Flair, the 16-time world champion, a good friend of mine, and he chipped in and helped out with a little bit of podcasting, and it was a busy time for Rick. And I called Rick on a Saturday night, out of the blue. Called him and said, hey, Rick, I said, hey, man, I got an idea about a 10 to 15-minute segment, and I'm going to call it 15-Minute Broadway. And why do you call it 15-Minute Broadway, Steve, you ask? Because the Broadway in the business that I come from, professional wrestling, is a time limit draw. A short segment rather than long-form conversation where I don't have to do a shit pile of research and delve real deep into a bunch of different stuff. Just so I can say hi, catch up to a brother, see what he's up to, how he's doing, and if he has anything he'd like to plug. Ric Flair said, yes, I'll help you out. So I called him on Sunday when I went down to the studio at Podcast One with Stacy. And we opened up a can with the Nature Boy. And what started off as a 15-minute Broadway turned into a 35 or 40-minute Pier 6 brawl where we shot the shit, laughed our heads off, and went over the time limit. We were fined by the booker and fired by the owner of the territory. We're both looking for jobs. If you want to hire Nature Boy Ric Flair and Steve Austin, give us a call. We do good work. Thanks for the time, Rick. I appreciate it. It turned into the body of the show. And the reason I wanted to reach out to Rick was because I'd heard through some of the wrestling newsletters that he had been to the doctor a few times and wasn't doing so well. Well, it turns out the Nature Boy, I'm happy to report, is doing just fine and doing what the Nature Boy does. Laugh and joke and have a good time and make people around him just enjoy his company. I appreciate it. With that being said, since I talked to Rick, I wanted to use him in my Match of the Week. Now, most of you folks are familiar with Rick as a singles wrestler because that's what he was, a 16-time world heavyweight champion for the National Wrestling Alliance. And he traveled all over the world defending that great belt. And I wanted to go and do something in regards to research and find a great tag match that he was in. And I found one. I found a hell of a match on the WWE Network. And so what I did was get on the network, get in the search engine, type in Ric Flair, hit the enter button. A bunch of stuff is going to scroll up on the left. All you've got to do is look for the headline that says, Ric Flair uses a shoe as Wyndham gets the pinfall win. Ric Flair uses a shoe as Wyndham gets the pinfall win. This is from December 7, 1988, Clash of the Champions 4. You can